Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. In this verse of Ashtavakra Gita, Ashtavakra says, a true sage is self-realized and detached. He has no material or spiritual desires. He knows that this universe is an illusion and it has no substance. In that case, he feels what is acceptable and what is unacceptable because this universe is illusion anyway. What does this mean? It means that the sage, a wise man, knows very well that in this mind and body complex of living entities, all actions that they do are unpredictable and strange. Anything can happen anytime. What is acceptable and what is unacceptable. We get only what our destiny, our karma, and God provide us. Hence, why should we say that I like what I did before and I don't like what happens now? Anyway, like in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Karmanye bhadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Do your duty, but don't expect any sort of result for your duty to be yours or for which you will be held responsible. You are just expected to do a particular duty. That's all. You cannot say that if you do this, this will happen. Anything can happen anytime. I'll give you a couple of examples to vouch my theory. There was one boy whose name was Kuppu Swami. He was a studious type of boy who became a successful doctor and worked as a doctor for years. But then suddenly he started getting interest in spiritualism and became Shivananda. As Shivananda, he became a very revered and successful spiritualist. Now, see, in one lifetime, a person is totally materialistic as a doctor, and then he becomes spiritualist. And this boy, who had been successful as a doctor in various countries, including India and Burma, spent most of his time in India in the foothills of Himalayas singing praises of God and dancing with the crowd which he could not have met when he was a doctor. There was no connection between the crowd that he had seen as a doctor and the crowd which he was mixing with now. What is acceptable and what is unacceptable? Do you accept the doctor's life or you accept this saint's life. You don't know. Similarly, there was another atheist doctor called Attavale. He was completely atheistic till the time when in 1978 he went to England and started practicing medicine. He was a surgeon. One day, as a medical practitioner and an erudite doctor and surgeon, he gave up on a patient while doing surgery and treating that person. He declared that this person will die. But miraculously, this guy survived within one day, and this doctor could not explain how it happened. So, overnight, this atheistic doctor not only became a spiritualist, but he also started his own spiritual organization. After that, he was talking only about God. Now, what is acceptable and what is unacceptable? Whether it is acceptable that he was a doctor and an atheist, or unacceptable that he is a saint, a spiritualist today. Third, there was this guy who did his B.Tech or M.Tech and then his IAM from Ahmedabad in India. He was an engineer and a management graduate who got a very lucrative job in America in a very reputed company. This guy worked there for some time and suddenly divine call came. You will be surprised to know that this guy kicked his job, joined a particular religious organization, came back to India and became a monk in the same religious organization, talking about God and worshipping God all the time. What is acceptable and what is unacceptable? Fourth case, I'll give. This is also pertaining to a doctor. This doctor was an orthopedic surgeon, a very successful and filthy rich practitioner who had his own clinic and a huge mansion where he lived like a king. This fellow got into some bad, unsavory ways and he was imprisoned for 14 years. Imagine a person who was so successful as a surgeon was imprisoned for 14 years and he had to move around with crooks and criminals for 14 years instead of doing some surgery outside in the city. Ultimately, he was released, and this guy, who was poised to become a world-renowned surgeon, passed into oblivion. What is acceptable and what is unacceptable? One person was Dr. Jackal, such a nice surgeon, very respectable and revered, and the other personality was Mr. Hyde, a criminal who spent 14 years behind bars. This is what this verse says. The sage knows that this universe does not have any substance. It is simply illusion. Anything can be possible in this world. So there is nothing which is acceptable and there is nothing which is unacceptable. One person can go through several opposite roads in one lifetime. One person may start as something in his life in the beginning and end up as something else in the end. Dhirubhai Ambani was a school teacher's son who used to sell sweetmeats in exhibitions in his city of Chorwad. He ended up as one of the richest persons in the world and died like an emperor in another city in India. What is acceptable and what is unacceptable? What is possible and what is impossible? Please pardon me for my spelling, grammar, diction, etc. And if you accept what I have said till now, you please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that I can keep informing you of my other videos, those in the past and those in the future. Till we meet next time in my next video, it is good day from TSV Raghavan.